Charity, many of us misunderstand. When you say charity, the first thing we think about is United Way, church collection plate, we are the world, we are the children. I mean, there's more to charity than that. Those of you who heard me teach the lecture on charity here, you know that charity comes from a French word which comes from a Latin word meaning love. Caritas means love. Here's what charity is. You talk about somebody has a charitable disposition. That means they're of a generous nature. They're kind to other folks. Don't mean they're giving everybody some money. They may not even have any money. You can be charitable without having any money. You can be broke and charitable. Charity means love. Love for your fellow human being. Okay? Now, charity should not go so far as to be counterproductive. Charity, even when you interpret it as giving to the poor, you should not give to them if it's going to make beggars of them. You have to set up a mechanism whereby you can help the poor until they're able to help themselves. But if you're just going to be a handout man, then you'll be handing out forever to that person because they're going to sit there and wait for the next handout. You're not following Islam then. That's counterproductive. That's against God's law that every tub has to sit on its own bottom. Okay? So you're harming them. You're not doing them any good. You are harming. Lazy people are not accepted by God. So if you help make somebody lazy, you are robbing them of their salvation. Because God's not going to accept those lazy people.
Brothers and sisters, has it ever occurred to you to wonder, with as hard as the Internal Revenue Service is on everything else, they'll let you deduct for giving to charity? Isn't that something? I mean, this is a government that tries to squeeze every penny they can from its citizens. But if you donate to charity, they'll let you deduct that. Now, they see something in charity that affects their government. We need to examine that. Why is it that the the money doesn't go to the government? In fact, they let the money stay out there because you gave it to charity. That means that if the government makes that kind of sacrifice for the sake of charity, you better believe this government ain't giving up nothing for nothing. If they're doing that, they're getting something because of your charity. Charity is a principle of national survival that all civilized nations know. The sale of goods and services is what they depend on monetarily. But if a nation ever gets to the point where they are so concerned about goods and services producing all the income and they keep all the income that it produces, that nation will not last very long. So the United States government, the members of the government, are smart enough and have been since their founding to understand that while goods and services can make you some money, goods and services do not develop moral fiber. You have to have a certain type of citizen to protect your government. You have to, now your citizens become just totally immoral and don't care about nothing, they will off you in a second for no reason. See, a person with some morals has to justify what he does to himself. But if you let him get totally immoral, they don't have to justify nothing. Ain't had a prayer, wonder can I hit it? Bam. Don't have to have no reason. So every government tries to keep the development of the moral fiber of its citizens in place to keep them from, because no matter how much they push pornography and all that, they don't want them to get so low down till they lose all respect for life. Now, the Holy Quran speaks of charity being an expiation for some of your sins. And Minister Farrakhan was struck by that to the extent that during this drive, he has said to those who have time out of the nation that if they do what they can do in this drive, that they can work their way back into good standing. But he was saying the other day he's a little disturbed by how that might be taken. Because somebody might think, oh, well, if I get this $1,000 pledge, then I'm automatically back in the nation. He says he's got to make that plain, that that's not quite the way it works. There's no such thing as cash and carry Islam. No. See, the Catholic Church had something like that many years ago. In fact, Martin Luther one of the reasons that he broke with the Catholic Church, he and Calvin and Zwingli and all the rest of them broke with the Catholic Church, was because of what they called indulgences. Go to your Encyclopedia Britannica and read the history of indulgences. Indulgences was a system whereby the church set up a list of sins, and they put a money value by each sin. And whatever sin you committed, all you had to do was give the concomitant amount of money to the church, and your sins were automatically forgiven. God wasn't consulted in it. The priest forgave you. You understand? As long as you paid your indulgence, you were straight. No. It's not what the minister is talking about. And that's not why this wicked government, as wicked as it is, respects charity. It's because charity nurses a quality in your heart and keeps it from dying. A human quality without which you would become just an animal. So what Minister Farrakhan was saying was, you get involved in this drive. That charity will help you to build up your moral strength that you can come back a good soldier. But you're not buying your way in the door. We want to make that plain in case some are listening who are in bad standing. We want you to understand that. And we say no cash and carry Islam. Look at this. United Way raised $2.44 billion last year. And their goal is to double that by 1991. The government has officially endorsed a plan called 5 and 5, where they are driving toward every citizen in America donating 5% of their income to charity and 5 hours a week of their time. See, they're in serious trouble. They're in some moral dilemmas that are causing them political problems throughout the world. And they understand. They're wicked and evil, but they ain't crazy. They understand that the weakness is not in the dollar. The weakness is not in the military establishment. The weakness is in the moral fiber of America. And while they don't have it in them to just turn around and stand up and be righteous, they want to hang on, so they want to increase their morality just enough to stay here. So they're encouraging the people to do that thing, charity, which will help to give them some resolve for that which they're facing.